Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, in chapter 18, text 78. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna,
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno,
Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara,
Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara,
Yatra Shrir Vijaya Bhutir,
यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धर तत्र श्री विजयो भूति ध्रुवा नीतिमति मम
Hare Krishna.
Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama,
Tatra Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama. I'll read.
Yeah, please.
Translation. Wherever there's Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there's Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Purport. The Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side. But after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjaya told the king, "You are thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune." He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of the charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthira because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthira. It is also predicted here that the Yudhishthira, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral, but the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is the supreme instruction in morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter in the 34th verse. Manmana bhava madbhakta. One must become a devotee of Krishna, and the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva dharman parichadya mam ekam saranam raja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of the Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life and according to the different courses of religion may be a confidential path of knowledge, but although the rituals of religion are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential, and surrender unto Krishna is in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of the 18th chapter. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal internal potency. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes: eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal time and it is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. In Bhagavad Gita, five principal subject matters have been discussed: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, the living entities, eternal time, and all kinds of activities. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. All conceptions of the Absolute Truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different. Nothing is different from the Supreme, but the Supreme is always different from everything. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord. And because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure giving potency. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation.
So here, this is the last text, last verse of Bhagavad Gita, where Sanjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra that wherever there is Krishna, Krishna is called Yogeshwar, master of all mystics. There are so many mystics, so many yogis, but Krishna is the master of them all. He's saying wherever there's Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, there will be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. So Prabhupada is pointing out that, Bhagavad Gita begins with Dhritarashtra asking, oh, now that they are assembled on the battlefield, my sons, the Kurus, and the sons of Pandu are there. Now what's happening? He wanted to know who's going to be victorious. That's why he puts that question. So the war has not yet begun. So now Krishna has finished speaking the Bhagavad Gita, and Sanjay is telling to Dhritarashtra that for sure the Pandavas are going to win because Krishna is there with them. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So Sanjay is saying, oh, because Krishna is there with the Pandavas and Arjuna is there, so for sure they are going to win. God has 6 opulences in full. Krishna, he has 6 opulences in full. So does anyone know what are the opulences?
Yeah, beauty and strength, fame,
Mm,
knowledge,
mm, mm,
wealth,
mm.
renunciation.
That's right, renunciation. So nobody has this in quantity which God has, Krishna has, equal to or greater than him. So sure, there's some people who are beautiful, but then there'll be more people who are beautiful, and then more people. Like this, we do research work, we'll come to the most beautiful, and that's Krishna. Or famous. There are some people, so many people are famous now, especially with social media, more and more people get more and more famous, more followers, more popular. So if we do research work like that, there'll be more popular, more popular. But who's the most famous? Krishna. No one is more famous than Krishna. So renunciation, there are many types of renunciate, but the most renounced is Krishna. This entire material world belongs to him, yet he gives it to us to enjoy. So Krishna is also the master of renunciation. Then, someone may think that Bhagavad Gita, oh, it's just a conversation that two friends are speaking. But surely it's not just a conversation of two friends, it's a word of God. That's why it's called Bhagavad Gita. Two friends meet, they'll they might speak of how to enjoy or some speculation or something. But Bhagavad Gita is a word of God. That's the reason it has value, and we are trying to study it. It is the supreme instruction of morality, as Prabhupada is saying. And what is that? Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Krishna is saying, become my devotee. And then what is the highest religion? Krishna is saying, surrender unto me. So we can see that we are not equal to Krishna. There is a difference. If we were equal, then Krishna, why would he say surrender unto me? So there is a difference. Simultaneous one and difference. Simultaneous one is how that we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are part and parcel of God. Krishna is Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. But our potency is very minute, whereas Krishna is unlimited. Because he's God, he's unlimited. We are his parts and parcels, so we are minute. The example that Prabhupada is giving is of the sun and sunshine. Sun has heat and light. Sunshine is also heat and light. So when we are seeing sunshine, we are also saying, the sun is here, the sun is out. We're not seeing the sun, but we are seeing sunshine. So yes, we are correct in saying because the sunshine is the energy of the sun. But the heat and light in one molecule of sunshine is completely different than the heat and light in the full sun. Similarly, we being part and parcel of Krishna, we are also Satchidananda, but our potency is completely different. So the most confidential knowledge, surrender unto Krishna in devotional service. We understood confidential knowledge is to understand we are not the body, but we are the soul, spirit. That is confidential knowledge. Then there is higher knowledge to understand that I am Brahman. Then more confidential knowledge is to understand, oh yes, I'm Brahman, but there is a Para-Brahman who's greater than me. I'm Atma, but there is Paramatma and he's much greater than me. And then the highest, most confidential knowledge is to surrender to Krishna, surrender to God, because Paramatma is expansion of Krishna, is expansion of God. So the most confidential knowledge is to surrender unto Krishna, to engage in devotional service. So that is the most confidential knowledge. So we can see that one who is engaging in devotional service, he understands the most confidential knowledge. Just like somebody does high school, then somebody does undergraduate, and then somebody does graduate or PhD. There are levels of knowledge. So most confidential, engaging in devotional service. So like that we are seeing confidential, more confidential, most confidential. So here Prabhupada is explaining another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So the absolute truth, who is the absolute truth? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying he is the absolute truth. Arjuna is also agreeing, and Arjuna is saying not only that Arjuna is agreeing, but he's saying all the authorities agree. Asita, Devala, Narad, Vyas, all the scriptures, all the spiritual authorities agree that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whoever is trying to understand the truth understands it in three features. Bhagavatam explains. Understands God as formless, as Brahman, as formless. Then one has a higher understanding God to be Paramatma. And the highest, most inclusive understanding is to understand that God is a person. That's the highest understanding. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that the Brahman, the light, is coming from the body of God. And Paramatma is his expansion by which he is pervading the entire universe. So there is so many departments of knowledge. There are different varieties of knowledge, but if one understands Krishna's supreme position, Krishna's position as Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that is perfect knowledge. Krishna, he is on the spiritual platform. We may think, we are equal to Krishna, but Krishna is God. No one is equal to or greater than God. Krishna, he is always in the spiritual energy. He never gets touched by the material energy. We living entities, the jivatmas, the individual souls, we are the individual souls. We are Krishna's marginal energy. We are situated between his spiritual energy and his material energy. Although we are superior by nature, we are spiritual by nature, but we have this independence. Because we are spiritual, we have the independence to choose. We want to be in the material energy or we want to be in the spiritual energy. That's why we are called marginal. And then based on this choice, there are two types of living entities. Those who are in the material world are called conditioned. Those who are in the spiritual world are called eternally liberated. So we are parts and parcels of God. We are part and parcel of Krishna. The material energy belongs to God. She's not independent. She's God's energy. There are these 24 elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, the senses. Everything belongs to God. It's made by God. This is the external energy. And time, Krishna says, time I am. Time is also impersonal feature of God. Time is also God's energy. So Bhagavad Gita, five topics have been discussed. Does anyone know what are these topics? Yeah.
भगवान, भौतिक प्रकृति, जीव, शाश्वत काल और कर्म.
और इसमें से कौन से इटर्नल है और कौन सा टेम्पररी है?
भगवान और शाश्वत काल, ये दो इटर्नल है. और भौतिक प्रकृति तो भगवान ने ही बनाई है, लेकिन
वो खाली कर्म टेम्पररी है, भौतिक प्रकृति भी इटर्नल है, क्योंकि वो भगवान की एनर्जी. अच्छा. खाली डिफरेंस है कि कभी वो ये रचना होती है, क्रिएशन होती है, कभी नहीं होती है, मगर मटेरियल
Okay.
एनर्जी हमेशा एग्जिस्ट करती है,
Okay.
क्योंकि भगवान की एनर्जी है वो। खाली
अच्छा।
डिफरेंस टेम्पररी क्यों बोलते हैं, क्योंकि वो क्रिएशन यूनिवर्सेस, कभी कभी सृष्टि, क्या बोलते हैं, क्रिएशन होता है और कभी अनमैनिफेस्ट हो जाता है, सब मटेरियल
हाँ
एनर्जी सोई कभी,
हाँ,
पर
प्रलय
eternal
होता
है।
है।
हाँ,
हाँ हाँ।
तो इटर्नल है,
हम्म,
मगर टाइम भी इटर्नल है, गॉड इटर्नल है, we the jivatmas, individual souls, we are eternal. What is temporary is karma, our
कर-
activities, karma. The karma that we get, that is temporary because that can be changed. Our activities can be changed. We can, but God, his position can never be changed. Material nature, she can never be changed. Living entities, we individual souls, we are eternal. We, Krishna says in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, unchangeable. So we are eternal. Because we are eternal, we are unchangeable. Not to the body, we are referring to the soul. And time is eternal. Time always exists. Always.
हम्म,
So everything is dependent on Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So understanding Supreme Personality of Godhead means understanding everything belongs to God. Everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing or no one does not belong to Krishna. Okay? So that's why they said, because it belongs to him, nothing is different from him. So when we are saying nothing is different, not that somebody becomes God, somebody becomes Krishna. No one can become God. No one can become Krishna. When we are saying non-different, it means we are the energy. Like when I'm moving about, that's my energy. It's my own energy. So it's not different from me. But yet it's different because it's not me. It's my energy. The movement that I'm making. So that's with my energy that I'm moving. So it's me and yet it's different. So we are energy of God. We are minute part and parcel of God. God is God. He's different from everything. This is Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva, inconceivable oneness and difference. This is what Lord Chaitanya, his special contribution was to teach us this knowledge. Simultaneously one with God, yet different from God. One with God, how? God is Satchidananda. We, the spirit soul, individual soul, we are Satchidananda. Difference, how? God is unlimited. We are minute. We are part and parcel. We are not the complete whole. The material energy does not belong to us. The spiritual energy does not belong to us. It belongs to God, belongs to Krishna. But we are same like him in the sense that he is Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. So inconceivable oneness and difference. One yet different. One in quality, different in quantity. So this is what Prabhupada has explained. We have touched some points what Prabhupada has explained in the purport. So surrender unto Krishna. Krishna is saying, surrender unto me. This is how his instruction is in the Bhagavad Gita. So surrender, Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself, he taught us how to surrender to Krishna. He taught us we surrender to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And if we can approach Krishna through Lord Chaitanya, then it becomes easy to approach Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna is very, very difficult to approach. Krishna says himself in Bhagavad Gita, hardly one knows me. out of millions of men who are trying to get liberation, there's hardly one who knows me. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we will be able to understand Krishna. So we can take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Shri Gaur Nitai, they came. Balaram, Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna, they came in Kali Yuga as Gaurachandra and Nityananda. By taking shelter of these two personalities, we can understand Krishna more easy. Of course, to the degree that we can, because after all, we are spirit souls. We are not unlimited. God is unlimited. But at least to the degree that He reveals Himself to us, we will be able to understand His position by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So we'll stop here. This brings us to the end of Bhagavad Gita. We'll just quickly do the review of the 18th chapter that the Malaysian devotees had put together. So we'll just try to review it. 18th chapter, conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So 18.1, would somebody like to read this?
Yeah,
Are you
I
able
can
to
read.
see?
Yeah.
Please.
Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Arjuna
Yeah,
Uvacha. Yeah, you'll read. Yeah.
you can read.
Yeah, okay. Arjuna Uvacha. Sanyasaya Mahabaho. Tattvam Ichhami Veditam. Tyagasya cha Rishikesha. Prathak Keshi Nishudana. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, Sannyasa, O killer of the Kesi demon, master of the senses.
So we see the 18th chapter begins with Arjuna's inquiry. He wanted to know what is tyag, renunciation, and what is sannyas. Then the Supreme Lord is explaining him. Please read. Yes.
It's on the same page. No? Oh, now yes. Shri Bhagavana Uvacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Vidhu Sarvakarma Phala Tyagam Prahu Tyagam Vika Sana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men called renounced order of life, sannyasa, and giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyaga.
So we can see Krishna is saying sannyas. What does it mean? Not merely a change of color of the dress, not merely changing of dress, but giving up activities of material sense gratification. That is sannyas. So acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Because we may act out of material desire and change only our dress, but that is not sannyas. Real sannyas means to act for the pleasure of God. And renunciation. What is renunciation? That we are not attached to the result. We act. We act because we want to enjoy the fruit of that activity. I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to get. And so we are waiting to get the fruits. But what does renunciation mean? That one is not waiting to get the fruits. One offers the fruit of that activity to God. That is perfection of renunciation. So please read on.
Yeah. Shri Bhagavana Uvacha
18.5.
Kamyanam
18.5.
18.5, but I can't see.
You're not able to say?
Yeah,
On,
now
on your
yes. Yeah, now yes. Yagya dana tapa karma na tyajyam karyam iva tat yagno danam tapas chaiva pavanani manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. All of these
So,
activities should be
yes.
performed as a matter of duty and without any expectation of result.
So Krishna is saying sacrifice, charity, and penance should be performed. Even if one may be in the renounced order of life, one may be a devotee, one must continue performing sacrifice, charity, and penance. And they should be performed in relation to Krishna. The sacrifice which is recommended for this age of Kali Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan. In this age of Kali, the sacrifice which is recommended is the Sankirtan Yagya, chanting of the holy names. Charity, the highest charity that we can give. Charity we can give is to support to the Krishna consciousness movement, to the devotees who are helping spread the holy name. And the highest charity we can give is to give the holy name to others, to give the Hare Krishna mantra to others, give Krishna to others. Penance in relation to Krishna. Like their fasting days, Ekadashi, Janmashtami. We had Lord Vaman appearance day. So, observing the fasting in relation to Krishna, doing penances in relation to Krishna. Those are the highest. Then we see here renunciation, characteristics. So there is the modes. We are all affected by modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And what is the characteristic of mode of goodness? That one does his prescribed duty. Why? Because it's his duty. Or it's my duty to do something, so I'm going to do it. And then also giving up the attachment to the result. So one is working not to get the result, but one is working because he's saying, it's my duty to work. It's my duty to do this, so I'm going to do this. That is the mode of goodness. And mode of passion is one does not want to do his duty because he feels, it's so troublesome, it's so tiring for me to do it, so I'm not going to do it. So that is mode of passion, renunciation in the mode of passion. And ignorance, renunciation in the mode of ignorance is, this one is completely in illusion, darkness, does not know what to do, what not to do. That is renunciation in ignorance. So then, are you able to see this? 8.12.
No, I can see the renunciation page.
Okay, so I'll read. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividam karmana phalam bhavati atyaginam pretya na tu sannyasinam kvachit. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. So here, because the modes are there, modes are acting, and then one wants the result of the activity. So one who wants the result of the activity, what happens is, to get that result, one will take up another body. One will have to take another birth in the material world to enjoy or to suffer the result of those activities. And so that's the reason Krishna is saying, give up the attachment to the result. Offer the result to me so that you don't have to take another birth in the material world. Act as a matter of duty. Act as you have, as whatever particular situation you are in, you act. But don't get attached to the result. Offer the result to me. Then 5 causes of action Krishna is speaking of that we had heard. Panchaitani mahabaho karanani nibodhame sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarvakarmanam adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidam vividascha prathak cheshta devam chevatra panchamam. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, that's the body. The performer, that's the individual soul. The senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. So we think, oh, it's only me, it's only me. But we are one part of how the activity happens. Here we see when action is happening, the super soul, the Paramatma, he's the ultimate control. The performer, that's us, the soul. The desire comes from us to do some activity. And then the body, we use the body, we use the senses, their endeavor, we put different types of endeavor. Then ultimately we get the sanction of Paramatma, and this is how the action happens. We study in Bhagavatam that how there are different demigods in charge of the different limbs of the body, different senses. So, even to blink our eyes, there's a particular demigod in charge. We may think, oh, I just have a desire. I'm going to do this activity. I'm going to lift up my hand. And so that's our desire. Desire, Paramatma understands. He sends the signal to the demigod who's in charge. The demigods helps us to do it. So it's like so super fast and so super organized that we don't even realize it. There's no lag. And we think, oh, it's because of me it's happening. But we are able to do any activity by mercy of the Paramatma. He understands our desires. And then Krishna is speaking of knowledge, the object of knowledge, and knower. These are the 3 factors of motivate action to get some knowledge. The object of knowledge, well, who's the object of the knowledge? And the knower, who's the knower? And then what are the actions going to constitute of? Senses, work, and the doer. Our senses, the work that we are doing, and the soul, the doer. So knowledge in the mode of goodness, when one who is in the mode of goodness, he sees the Atma and Paramatma in everyone's heart. He understands the spiritual nature. Yeah, that is mode of goodness. He sees everyone as spirit soul. In passion, one is seeing different living entities that one is not able to understand the difference between matter and spirit. One is just thinking everything is the body. Everyone is the body. He's thinking, oh, this is an animal, this is a human being. Everyone is a body. That is passion. And ignorance, one does not even do such type of inquiry. One is not doing any inquiry. He's just working just to meet his bodily needs. There's no kind of inquiry, no kind of knowledge. That is ignorance. So karma in the mode of goodness is work, regulated work, balanced work. One is not attached. One does his work as a matter of duty, does not want to enjoy the result of his work. That is mode of goodness. Passion, there is a lot of desires. So there's a lot of activity to fulfill the desires. And one thinks, oh, I am the doer, so I should enjoy the result. And in ignorance, one does not know what is to be done, what is not to be done. One engages in sinful activity, and there is no knowledge, basically. Then in goodness, one works with enthusiasm, determination to perform his duty. Says, this is my duty, so I'm going to do it, whether I fail or whether I achieve success. I'm going to do it as a matter of duty. In passion, one wants to enjoy. Oh, I work so hard, so I must enjoy. I need to get this result. One has a lot of desires to enjoy, and one wants more and more, and one gets very affected when one is happy or sad. One is very affected by it. And in ignorance, it's sinful activities, going against the scriptures. There's not much activity also, because one is always lamenting, procrastinating, lazy, cheating. So happiness also is in the modes. So we can see, how the different activities are in the modes, how we are working, how the modes are controlling us. Happiness is one understands that, oh, this is so troublesome, but yet one does it because he knows the result is good. Like taking up hearing and chanting. One will say, oh, it's so troublesome, but still one does it because he knows the result is going to be so good. That is goodness. Passion, there's a lot of desires, material desires. So one wants to get more and more things. So one is very fast to, put more ventures, but it causes a lot of distress. Start more and more ventures, but it's distress. And in ignorance, it's all barely any activity. It's sleep, laziness, delusion. So I'm not sure what this one is about, but of course here, this is King Purushottam Dev, the Maharaj Prataparudra, how he was a devotee of Lord Jagannath. He was doing everything for the service of Lord Jagannath. And so this is for the Rath Yatra. And buying Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhadra Purnima is coming up, 29 September. Anyone who gives Srimad Bhagavatam on that day goes back home, back to Godhead. This is what Bhagavatam says. So we also have a second part of this. Let me try to quickly look it up and see if I can. So let's see if we are able to. Yeah. So this is then going on, because Krishna was saying the different qualities. The Brahmanas are in the mode of goodness, so the qualities, they are very peaceful, they have self-control, austere, pure, tolerant, honest. They have knowledge, they have wisdom, they are righteous, they are religious. So that is the Brahmanas. Passion, determination, power, heroism, resourcefulness, courage, generosity, and leadership. Vaishyas, mode of passion and ignorance, farming, cow protection, and business. And Shudras in the mode of ignorance, labor, and service to others. But Krishna is saying, whatever, every endeavor has some fault. Just as fire has smoke, so don't give up the work born of your own nature. One may think, oh, I don't want to be a Shudra, I want to be a Brahmana because it is the highest. No, even Brahmana has. In the material world, all endeavors will have some fault. So work according to nature. Don't give up the work which is born of your own nature. This is what Krishna is saying, so that we can be peaceful. Find out what's our nature and work according to that. And then Krishna is saying the Brahmabhuta platform. His intelligence is pure. He's controlled his mind with determination. He's given up sense gratification. No more attachment, no more hatred. He's, he's satisfied to live by himself. He's controlling his body, mind, power, controlling his eating, power of speech, controlling his eating. He's detached from false egos, false strength, lust, anger, free from false proprietorship. Then such a person can come to the Brahmabhuta platform. So he's working as a matter of duty. He's not attached to, he does not have material desires. So then he can come to the Brahmabhuta platform. And what is Brahmabhuta platform? He has understood that he is the spirit soul, part and parcel of God. Yeah, he's understood he's not the body. He's on the Brahman, platform of the Brahman, understanding he's the soul. And because he's understanding he's the soul, then he can understand there is a super soul. There is a supreme Brahman also. That he is Brahman, but there is Para Brahman. Then he does not desire anything more in the material world. He's understood he's spiritual. No more material hankering or desires. And so he's Samma Sarveshu Bhuteshu, equal to all living entities, understanding everyone is part and parcel of God. So in that state, one engages in pure devotional service. He understands he has a duty to God. His duty is to serve God, and he engages in this service to God. So we can see pure devotional service begins from liberation. The pure devotee is liberated. In Caitaniya Caritamita Madhya 19.151 says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhakti Lata Bijal. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna, by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master. Such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. So we living entities are wandering in the universe, going from one planet to another, one species to another. But who is fortunate? One who gets the association of the bona fide spiritual master, the pure devotee. One who gets this by mercy of Krishna. So one who receives the mercy of Guru and Krishna, he is fortunate. Why? Because he receives the seed of devotional service. Bhakti Lata Bij. This Bhakti Lata which can then grow and fully come to Krishna Prem. So this is the most valuable bhakti. Krishna says that one can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So how can we understand Krishna's position as God, as Supreme Personality of Godhead? Only when we engage in devotional service. When we are hearing from the devotees, from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we are worshipping the deity, we are remembering him. then we will be able to understand Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna's position as God. And one who has a complete Krishna consciousness, he goes back home, back to Godhead. He goes to the spiritual world. So if we want to understand God, we need to engage in devotional service. Only by devotional service can we understand Him. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, someone may think he's just an imaginary figure, it's like a super person, like a Superman. Someone thinks he's a powerful diplomat, or someone thinks he's a social reformer. Someone thinks that, oh, the Brahman, impersonal Brahman now has come in the form of Krishna. Someone thinks he's avatar of Vishnu, but the truth is, Krishna, he is God. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can see there's a gradual elevation of consciousness, where at the beginning one may not even one may just think that Krishna is imaginary. So then comes to understand, oh, not imaginary, he probably existed. He was maybe a powerful politician. Then one upgrades that, oh, maybe not only powerful politician, but that good for everyone. Then understanding, oh, maybe he is impersonal Brahman who's taken the form. So there's gradual elevation, and then somebody thinks of him as avatar of Vishnu. And the perfect understanding is that Krishna is God. He's Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhagavatam says, Ete cham sakalapam sa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. That there are so many incarnations, so many expansions of expansions. But who's the original form of God? Is Krishna. The original form of God is Sham Sundar Krishna. Here we see in the photo. He has a peacock feather. He's holding a flute, 2 hands. This is original form of God. And from this form come all the other forms. Vishnu, Varaha, Vamandev, Nrsimha, all the forms are coming from this original form of God. This verse comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, if you want to understand Krishna, then you have to take the life of devotion under the guidance of a spiritual master. Krishna says, I can be understood only by devotional service. So we have to engage in devotional service to be able to understand Krishna in truth. Because otherwise we may just think, oh, Krishna is just imaginary figure or a powerful diplomat or social reformer, or he's the impersonal Brahman who came in person, or he's come as an avatar of Vishnu. But how to understand Krishna in truth as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Krishna is saying, I can be known only by devotion. So we need to engage in devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, a spiritual master who's coming in parampara. So the taste of the honey is in eating it. If we really want to understand Krishna, we have to engage in devotional service. So the Lord, the Supreme Lord, He's in the Paramatma, He's there in everyone's heart. He's there, and we have to surrender unto Him. The Paramatma is the one who's fulfilling all our desires. And we need to surrender unto Him. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, I've given you so much knowledge. Now you think about it, and then you choose to act. So surrender unto Krishna. Krishna is saying He's giving this most confidential knowledge because Arjuna is his dear friend. So non-envious. And what is the most confidential knowledge? Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Krishna is saying in 1865, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me. and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. So whoever becomes a devotee of Krishna goes to the spiritual world to be with Krishna, to see Krishna face to face, to talk to Krishna, to eat together with Krishna. So by devotional service, becoming a devotee of Krishna, Krishna is saying, just surrender unto me and I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. He's saying, abandon all varieties of religion. So surrendering to Krishna. Surrender to Krishna. So the surrendering process, accept things favorable to engage in devotional service, reject things unfavorable, believe firmly in Lord's protection, that God will protect me, Krishna will protect me. Always feel Krishna's mercy on us. Have no interest separate from interest of the Lord. So always working for the pleasure of God. Always feel oneself meek and humble. Always feeling oneself dependent on God. So these are the 6 items of surrender. Accepting the things which are favorable, rejecting the things which are unfavorable for this devotional service, believing in God's protection, dependent on the mercy of God, always have no personal agenda, but working for pleasure of God, and feel oneself meek and humble. So Krishna is saying that one who explains his supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And then the end, he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there be anyone more dear. So Krishna wants us to give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to everyone. He wants that. Lord Chaitanya, he says, one who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsh, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. So to make Lord Chaitanya, he's Krishna himself, he's saying, give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to everyone and make your life successful. Work for benefit of all other people, because everyone is benefited when we are studying Bhagavad Gita. So this is Krishna's desire, this is desire of God, that we should give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, give the chanting of Hare Krishna to everyone, so that everyone can go back home, back to Godhead. We are all spirit souls. We all belong to the spiritual world. We are all parts and parcels of God, all parts and parcels of Krishna. And now Arjuna has heard the Bhagavad Gita. He's saying, my illusion is gone. Now all my doubts are gone. And now I'm willing to act as you are telling me to act. So Arjuna has really understood Krishna's position as God. So he's saying, my doubts are gone, my illusion is gone, and now I will do as you are telling me to do. And Krishna and Sanjaya is saying that wherever there's Krishna, wherever there's Arjuna, for sure there has to be victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and morality. So surrender to Krishna. Yesterday was appearance day of Lord Vamandev. Bali Maharaj, he surrendered himself to Lord Vamandev. The pastime. That, oh, where shall I keep the 3rd step? Lord Vamandev asks him. And Bali Maharaj says, okay, you keep it on my head. Complete surrender. Bali Maharaj shows that he surrendered everything. And what happened? That Bali Maharaj gave him a full planet to rule, Sutala planet, which is a very opulent planet, more opulent than Indralok. And Vamandev himself becomes a guard, guarding that planet. So we can see if one surrenders to God, one gets much, much more than one can expect. It's our duty of each and every soul, individual soul, to surrender to God, to surrender to Krishna. Surrender begins by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll stop here for today. Shla Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shla, all glories to all assembled devotees. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much for listening and joining in.